Imagine a creature as long as a football field, capable of turning an entire army to ash with a single breath. In the world of House of the Dragon, these creatures aren't myths. They're weapons, symbols of power, and often the reason an entire house falls. The Targaryen dragons decided the fate of Westeros long before anyone ever sat on the Iron Throne. But which of them was truly the strongest, the fastest, the deadliest? Today we're breaking down the top 10 dragons of the show, from giants who leveled cities to smaller but no less lethal beasts. Let's get into it. Part 1. Number 10. Moondancer. We start with the smallest dragon on our list, but don't mistake that for weakness. Moondancer is a pale green dragon with dark tiger-like stripes. Her only rider is Baela Targaryen, daughter of Daemon and Laena Velaryon. Moondancer is slimmer and leaner than most of the other dragons, and that's exactly what makes her one of the fastest and most maneuverable creatures in the sky. Size isn't her main advantage. Where a giant like Vhagar can barely turn between towers, Moondancer threads through narrow gaps like an arrow. Baela and Moondancer bonded when they were children, and together they got their baptism by fire, when the circumstances of the Dance of the Dragons forced young riders to take part in the war alongside adults. The lesson from Moondancer is simple. In a world where size decides everything, speed and agility still count for something. That's why she takes 10th place in our ranking, and why riders often choose her for the most dangerous maneuvers instead of the heavier giants. Part 2. Number 9. Seasmoke. 9th place goes to Seasmoke, a dragon with grayish-green, seafoam-colored wings, whose story is one of the most unusual in the entire show. His first rider was Laena Velaryon, son of Corlys Velaryon, but after the young man's tragic death, the dragon spent years unattended, hiding among the cliffs of Dragonstone. His second rider was Adam of Hull, a commoner who, as it turns out, carries Velaryon blood in his veins. The moment Adam approaches the wild, waiting dragon and Seasmoke accepts him is one of the most emotional scenes of Season 2. It proves one of the show's core ideas. Dragons don't choose a rider by title or crown, but by something deeper: blood and personal courage. Seasmoke isn't the biggest or the fastest dragon in Westeros, but his story of a second life, a dragon who waited years for the right rider to appear, makes him one of the most memorable characters in the show. Part 3. Number 8. Silverwing. 8th place belongs to Silverwing, another of the old dragons of Westeros who spent years without a rider after the death of Queen Alysanne Targaryen. He's one of the dragons of the so-called Wild Flock on Dragonmont, alongside Vermithor and Sheepstealer. Silverwing was eventually tamed by Ulf White, another low-born commoner who, like Adam, turns out to be a hidden descendant of Dragonblood. The taming scene on the mountain is one of Season 2's key moments, showing that even after 100 years without a rider, a dragon can still submit to a human with the right blood. Silverwing isn't as aggressive as Vhagar or Caraxes, but his size and age make him a serious military asset once the Dance of the Dragons turns into open warfare between the Greens and the Blacks. Part 4. Number 7. Syrax. 7th place goes to Syrax, the golden yellow dragon of Queen Rhaenyra Targaryen. Named after a Valyrian goddess, Syrax has been bonded to Rhaenyra since childhood, and their connection is one of the longest and most stable in the entire show. In size, Syrax falls short of both Caraxes and especially Vhagar, partly because she spends most of her life chained in the dragon pit in King's Landing instead of hunting for herself like the wild dragons do, but that doesn't make her any less important. Syrax is a living symbol of Rhaenyra's power, a walking embodiment of her claim to the throne. Interestingly, Syrax rarely takes part in direct combat, mostly due to Rhaenyra's caution, since losing the Queen's dragon would be catastrophic for her entire cause. But when it comes down to the critical moments, Syrax becomes the Blacks' final argument in the fight for the Iron Throne. Part 5. Number 6. Sunfire. 6th place goes to one of the most beautiful dragons in all of Westeros. Sunfire, the dragon of King Aegon II Targaryen, is covered in golden scales and, according to the book Fire and Blood, has soft pink wings. Many consider him the most beautiful dragon in Targaryen history, but beauty doesn't save you from war. At the Battle of Rook's Rest, Aegon recklessly leads Sunfire into battle against two opponents at once, Meleys and Vhagar. The results are catastrophic. Both dragon and rider suffer severe injuries that Sunfire never fully recovers from. In the book, one of his wings is torn apart, and he loses the ability to fly forever, a fate worse than death for a creature born for the sky. Sunfire is a story about ambition that costs too much. Aegon wanted to prove his strength and nearly destroyed the most valuable ally he had. It's this tragic arc that earns the dragon a well-deserved 6th place in our ranking. Part 6. Number 5. Dreamfire. 5th place goes to Dreamfire, the dragon of Queen Helaena Targaryen and one of the oldest dragons to appear in the show. In size, Dreamfire falls short only of the biggest giants on this list, Vhagar, Vermithor, Meleys, and Caraxes, while still outsizing even Syrax. Dreamfire carries a long history with House Targaryen. This dragon once belonged to Queen Helaena the Black Bride, the namesake of her final rider. He has outlived more than one generation of rulers, which is rare in itself for dragons, who often die young amid constant wars and conflicts. In Season 2, Dreamfire becomes both a witness to and a participant in one of the show's most tragic moments, the assault on King's Landing when a mob storms the Dragon Pit. His enormous age and size make him one of the Green's most powerful assets, though Helaena herself isn't a warrior by nature, creating a striking contrast between the beast's strength and its rider's peaceful temperament. Part 7. Number 4. Caraxes' 4th place. And now, we move into true legends. Caraxes, known as the Bloodworm, is the dragon of Prince Daemon Targaryen, one of the most battle-tested dragons in all of Westeros. His description in fire and blood-red scales, and an unnaturally long neck makes him look more like a giant winged serpent than a classic heavy dragon. Caraxes is lean and swift compared to giants like Vhagar, and that very leanness gives him an edge in combat. He's faster, more maneuverable, and more aggressive. Even before the events of the show, Caraxes was used in battle twice, first by Daemon's uncle Aemon Targaryen, and later by Daemon himself at the Stepstones, where the two of them literally burned the Crabfeeder's army to the ground. Daemon and Caraxes are arguably the most tightly bonded rider-dragon duo in the entire show. Both hot-tempered, both dangerous, both ready to strike first. That's why the Bloodworm, despite being outsized by the biggest dragons on this list, confidently claims 4th place. Experience and character matter just as much as raw muscle. Part 8. Number 3. Meleys. Bronze in our ranking goes to Meleys, the Red Queen, dragon of Princess Rhaenys Targaryen. Bright red scales and copper horns make her one of the most recognizable dragons in the skies of Westeros, and her first rider, Princess Alyssa Targaryen, mother of King Viserys and Daemon, already shows just how long and storied her history is. Despite her massive size, Meleys is considered one of the fastest dragons in the world, a rare combination of mass and speed. That's exactly why Rhaenys, nicknamed the Queen Who Never Was able to remain one of the most dangerous figures on the political stage for decades. With a dragon like this at her back, even those who refused to recognize a woman's claim to the throne had to listen. Meleys' end is one of the most emotional moments of Season 2. At the Battle of Rook's Rest, she faces both Vhagar and Sunfire at once. The fight is uneven. Even her speed and experience can't overcome the advantage of the largest dragon in the world. Meleys and Rhaenys die together in flight, a death worthy of the queen she always should have been. Part 9. Number 2. Vermithor Silver in our ranking goes to Vermithor, the Bronze Fury, the second largest dragon to appear in the entire show. He once belonged to King Jaehaerys Targaryen, and after his death, Vermithor spent decades living wild on Dragonmont, refusing to submit to anyone. Taming Vermithor becomes one of the key turning points of Season 2. Daemon, hoping to win an ally among the wild dragons, tries to claim him himself, and fails, nearly losing his life in the attempt. Instead, Vermithor is eventually tamed by Hugh Hammer, a blacksmith of common birth who turns out to carry hidden dragon blood. This moment underscores one of the show's central themes. Dragon blood sometimes runs where no one expects to find it. In size, Vermithor is second only to one dragon on this entire list. He's so massive that even experienced riders are initially afraid to approach him. Part 10. Number 1. Vhagar. And here we are at the top of our ranking. First place, without a doubt, belongs to Vhagar, the largest living dragon in all of Westeros and one of the oldest dragons in Targaryen history. Based on fan estimates drawn from both the books and the show, Vhagar's length is often put at over 150 meters, longer than a football field. Vhagar has outlived more than one generation of riders. She was once flown by Queen Visenya Targaryen, one of the founders of the dynasty, then by Laena Velaryon, Daemon's wife, and finally passes to Prince Aemon Targaryen after Laena's tragic death. That extraordinary lifespan automatically makes Vhagar the largest and strongest dragon of her time. In the world of House of the Dragon, dragons keep growing their entire lives, It's Vhagar who kills young Arax and his rider Lucerys during a storm over the sea, the moment that finally ignites the Dance of the Dragons. Vhagar isn't just the biggest dragon on the show, she's a living symbol of the idea that power accumulated over centuries can crush any opponent, no matter how brave or agile. That's exactly why she rightfully claims the top spot in our ranking of the top 10 dragons of House of the Dragon. And that's our full top 10. Let us know in the comments which dragon you'd put at number 1, and don't forget to subscribe, because there's a lot more coming about the world of Westeros.